Hey everybody, it's Robb Moffett. Guys, today we're going to be talking about the people I feature on my channel. If you look on the right side of the channel, on everybody's channel on YouTube, if anyone is featured, that's usually where they're at. And I have about a dozen people I've been featuring for years. I started off featuring people that didn't have a lot of views that I thought needed to have more. And over the years, some of them have gained a lot of viewers and subscribers. Some of them haven't, but still, I'm not going to give up on them. I think let's start from the beginning here. I think Marty was one of the very first people I featured on my channel. Marty Oringer has a really cool fishing channel. He's been making videos for a long time. When he first started, he had a little orange kayak, and I featured him. I'm going to give the reason I picked people that made me decide. I decided on Marty because he's not only an artist, he not only likes dogs. Half the people I feature like dogs, a common denominator. You know, he likes fishing, he likes the outdoors, but he also gives back to the community. But he loves making videos. I would learn stuff about making videos, watching his all the time. It got to where I enjoyed the fishing, but I was waiting to see what he was going to do next in some of his videos, because he was always experimenting and doing different things. I would watch him from the very beginning. He would take his kayak out of his truck. He'd have to put his camera on a tripod, then he'd go down the path to the water, and he'd have to get his tripod again and put it at the water, then go out into the water. And then when he came back, he had to first come in and set up his tripod again to see, and go back out, then come back in so he could film himself coming back in, and then he'd have to go back to the truck and film him putting it on the truck. I would just take 2 pictures, taking it off the truck, in the water, I'm done. I'm lazy son of a gun. Marty, he wanted to make a really good viewing experience. The day I realized he was at a different level of most people, he was carrying a bucket of shrimp in his left hand, and he was walking along, and you could see that he was being filmed from his left side, and he filmed by himself. He didn't have any help. So I asked him in the comments, said, how did you do that? He had like a selfie stick or something in his right hand, and put the camera behind his back and angled it so where he could film the right or the left side of his body carrying the shrimp bucket along the path by using his right arm behind his back. Like it was just a really cool shot. Also, he does really good things with his music. But if people don't make videos, they aren't paying attention. They have no idea. But if you make videos, you know that the music sometimes is a labor itself, finding the right music and the right mood, tone, and then editing in right spot, and not having it too loud or too low. And sometimes the music is half the fun for the videos. And he would go into a lot of detail making little videos I think a lot of people didn't even know about or pay attention, because they were seamless. If you edit really good, nobody knows or sees what you're doing. And that's what he was doing. He's a really good video maker. He's a good storyteller. He's a good fisherman. He's a good person too, I think. It's been a pleasure watching him grow his channel and also grow his business little by little, gaining confidence and trying different things. And now he's got a little business renting the kayaks. He's living on a boat on the water in Florida, living the dream. And it's just like a really pleasant guy. You just want to support him in his channel. He does good stuff, and he's a good common denominator on people I feature. Usually they're good do-it-yourselfers and improvisers, and Marty is that in spades. He's really good at that. And like I said, he's also a good fisherman. So you want to check Marty Oringer out. He's one of the good ones out there. Also, I've got a playlist of Florida fishermen that also do a lot of fishing too, but I prefer to have Marty on my featured list for the fishermen. I think he's at the top for me. Okay, let's go. Oh no. This is Chef Buck. This is old Mr. Buck. He has a channel. I first started watching him because of his comedy. This is his old first channel. He's got several. He's got another one that is extremely popular, does cooking. and I watch all the time. I don't know why I don't feature it, but I think because I started featuring this first. He's also got a new channel with him and his girlfriend, or I don't know if they're married or not. I should be his significant other, camera girl. I forgot her name. Golly, I wish I could remember. I should have done more research for this video, Bob. They're a great team. I love them both, and she does a lot of wonderful photographs for his food videos too. But they're a great team. But he has done a lot of good comedy that I like a lot. And I think what made me subscribe, or not subscribe, but feature was probably Waterworld. I probably featured him earlier than that, but Waterworld is hilarious. But he also has a channel full of great cooking that I admire a lot, and I have a lot of his videos that he cooks on my cooking playlist. But to be honest, my favorite cooking videos of his are the ones he does with his mom. They're my favorite cooking videos on YouTube. But yeah, he does comedy. He also does cooking, and he's just a fun guy. Him and Camera Girl, they're a blast. I really enjoy their channels. All the people I feature on my channel, none of them I speed them up. Almost everything else I watch on YouTube, I increase the speed. Sometimes double time. I wish they had triple. But yeah, Buck is a treasure. Him and Camera Girl, I think you might want to check them out. Brad is, you know what? He is someone who doesn't beat his own drum. He doesn't talk about all the stuff he does. He's got a channel that's got hundreds and hundreds of common sense, helpful, practical, how to do it yourself. He's a great do-it-yourselfer. He's a great improviser. He's also a good builder, but he doesn't brag. I remember the reason I featured him. He was building something for his chickens. He gave up on chickens. That's another thing. He gave up, but he didn't do a video about why I quit chickens. He just said, screw it. And he never said why he was quitting for chickens, but he did it. But anyway, he was building, I think, a chicken house. And he was putting a piece of wood, joining with another. And if you ever, I think Craig has a pocket tool thing where you can make has a little jig, and you put a hole in the wood, and you use these Craig screws to join the wood. It's actually a pleasant, handy little tool. Well, Brad was joining one piece of wood to another, and he just took his drill, made an angle hole, then he wallowed out the hole a little bit, and put in, I think it was a drywall screw, and snugged it down, and he had his own little pocket jig going on. He didn't need anything. He just used his drill, and other people would have made a whole video about this. Oh, look at this. You can do this. He wasn't even mentioning it while he was doing it. He was talking about something else related to the video. So I thought, that's pretty cool. You got to watch this guy. Like Casey Stengel said, you can observe a lot by watching. Well, Brad, you can observe a lot by watching what he does. One day he wanted to make his own rifle, his own gun. He made it. He drills his own wells. He fixes stuff. He builds stuff. He improvises stuff. And also, a lot of stuff he's been doing the last few years. He had a serious accident at work where he got chemical exposure to inhaled a lot of stuff, messed up his lungs. So a lot of times he hasn't been healthy, and he still would do more like in a day I do in a month. So the guy is he kicks butt. He makes stuff. He got the best do-it-yourself solar oven videos on YouTube. But many other different areas. Big time prepper. Here was the chicken tractor thing. See, he was no Craig jig. He was just making them as they go. I really like that. He's got a lot of stuff that people don't even realize. They go and see what he's doing lately, and it might be completely different. Like right now, he's on that's another, he's on the knives right now. He's on the knives. He's never done knives before. He just did the video, watched them, decided that's what he wanted to do, and now he makes super quality knives that he can sell to people because they're that good. That's how good a craftsman he is, and he's also a really good guy. He's very helpful to the community. I mean, he doesn't like those the post office where he used to live, and a few other things. But you know, what you see is what you get. Brad is an original guy, a genuine person. I like him a lot, and it is a pleasure to subscribe to him and know him as a YouTuber and actually as a friend. We've talked online and on the phone. He's a really good guy. You want to check out his hundreds and hundreds of videos on really cool stuff. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. 65 Ford, another original. 65 Ford, this guy, sometimes I'd watch his videos and I'm thinking, how can this guy so young know so much? He's got like from another planet. He's like, Mo is like, the thing about Mo is he talks about stuff and he doesn't have knowledge like at a superficial level. He's like, he knows like when to duck. He knows when things go. He'll tell you, yeah, but you can do this. But if it goes wrong, then you need to do this. And if then that happens, you need to get a frammer jammer. And you make sure it's a left-handed one. Because if it's a right-handed one and you do this, then that's going to happen. And if that happens, like, the guy knows what the heck he's talking about. And he's excellent do-it-yourselfer. He's an improviser. He can make stuff, build stuff. But I decided this was a guy I would like to feature when he was doing his woodworking. When he was making his shed out of pallets. It was very innovative, very, very creative, and it looks excellent. And it's all made out of stuff people are going to throw away. Look at that shed. That's an amazing little shed there. Made a whole series. And always something new, original, you don't see anybody else doing. If you do see somebody else doing, they're not doing it like Mo. I mean, Mo gets in, he gets out. Other people, this would be a live stream, and it'd be 2 hours. You know, like he's in there for 15 minutes, and the last minute they're just playing with the dog, you know, which is one of the best parts. So yeah, you want to check out Mo. The guy is another original on YouTube. He didn't have that many views when I first featured him. I don't think my feature helped that much. Probably nothing. But this is how he's grown, and I think he's going to continue to grow because he's got a super good quality stuff on his channel. Okay. SV Seeker. This guy, Captain Doug, right now, he's building a small ship in his front yard in Oklahoma. That's not the cool part. The cool part, before he even started the ship, he was building a submarine. He did. Him and his wife built a little submarine, I think based on one of the early submarine pioneers. I think it was Lake or Borden or somebody like that. They built a little submarine. That would be famous enough for YouTube. You know, wouldn't have to do any more. But he decided to build a giant sailboat of a certain style. It's like an origami. Most boats, they build frames and then they wrap the hull around the frames. This particular method, you get the metal and you cut it into shape and you weld it, and then you take come-alongs and chain and you pull it together to get into the shape, and then you put the frames inside. And this man with his wife themselves used these cranes they built themselves to get started. And I was watching every single week. I was like, how is this man going to do it? Just him and his wife by themselves. Bit by bit, person by person, all over the internet, people came to help him and his wife, and they slowly built this sucker. And it's going to go. It's eventually going to be on the Mississippi and go out into the Gulf and then around the world, wherever they want to go. And he's not only just building a boat, he's building it with style. I mean, it's looking good. It's audacious. It's an audacious undertaking what he's doing. But this is so motivating and inspiring, because this shows you that sometimes when you dream big, they come true. I got to take my hat off to Captain Doug. I don't watch it as much as I used to, because before it was always like a magic trick. How is he going to conjure this up with just him and his wife? And like now he's got a whole team of people, and they're all constantly new people are coming in, which is what he needs. But it's still pretty amazing what they do. Excellent improvising. If they don't know how to do something, they figure it out and get it done. Very inspiring. Okay, let's see who's next. Oh, this is... I don't know this person personally. We've never talked on the phone or anything, but I consider Mark to be kind of if not a friend, and like a good neighbor, even though we don't live. I just watched his videos year after year, and you get to know a person because he puts out at least one every week. The thing about Mark, excuse me, is he's not just a YouTube guy. He's a writer. He's an author. I've got all 3 of his books. He's also a musician, and he used to be big into the art world. He was an outsider artist, and he's also got several blogs that have thousands and thousands of albums, musical albums that he puts online and leaves comments about what they were and who was on them and so on. It's like a history of music of a certain style. He likes a lot of stuff that people don't pay attention to. Like he has gospel stuff. He's got a lot of stuff from the 40s, 50s, 60s, kind of space age music. He's got Montevani. He's got different things that different genres that people ignore or pass over that are very fascinating. I always learn new musical artists when I watch his show, because right now, basically every week, he's just going over records. But before he does the records, he'll talk about what happened to him that week, and they're just little stories about. He's kind of awkward around people out in public that he doesn't know. Like he'll come across people, and he does stories about what happened to him in the grocery store, or the gym. He works out at the gym, does yoga and stuff, and little human interest stories that happen to him each week that are amusing. And then he talks about the music, and then he gives a musical sample at the end. And here's the thing, because he's given these musical samples, he can't monetize anything. So almost all of the things he does cannot be monetized. 99% of people on YouTube are fighting and arguing over how they can make more money. Mark don't give a crap. I mean, sure, he'd like to make more money, but this is a labor of love. Also, he never talks about the books he's written. He doesn't talk about the music that he's performed. I mean, he doesn't try to sell or get your email address so he can, sell you life insurance or something. This is what he does because he's an artist, and this is his passion, and that's what he does. He's only got like 400 subscribers, and they think he's had a tiny amount for years and years. And it's a shame, but I don't think he cares. He could quit tomorrow if he wanted to. He's not in it for the money. This is just something that satisfies him, and it's satisfying to watch him and listen to him. It's a pleasure. Another person that I don't cut the speed up to make it go quicker. I enjoy. It's like a friend talking to you, and nobody talks anymore. They're always on text. Or you don't talk to people anymore. It's all digitalized. You get a text from somebody, or you see him on Facebook or something. So yeah, it's a pleasure, Mr. Mark. Let's see who we got next. Oh, Jamie. Jamie is scary. Jamie is scary because he's like so passionate and dedicated to what he does, and he's just like. There was a book written some years ago about Mosquito Coast, about this kind of scientist guy that went to live in the Caribbean in Central America, and he built this giant ice machine in the jungle, and he was really kind of driven by myopic. He just sort of focused on one thing, and he was ignoring all the realities of life. And my superpower is I worry about stuff. I worry about Jamie. He's in the jungle all by himself, with him and his three kids and his wife, and he's building stuff left and right. He's a consummate, constant builder. He's always building something. When he finishes that, he builds something again, something different. He's got a half dozen boats he's built in the wilderness out of fiberglass. If this alone would make him famous, he built alone in the jungle on an island a giant houseboat, catamaran houseboat. Him and his wife and kids live on out of fiberglass, piece by piece in the wilderness. And then after he did that, he started work on his island home. And of course, the island home had to have a concrete wall. The most difficult, time-consuming thing you can build with is concrete. And he's building a concrete wall, bucket by bucket, around the island. Of course, to help him put in the wall, he decided he needed a bulldozer, so he purchased online different material, had it delivered to his island, and he built a freaking little miniature bulldozer that he powers by solar cells. And he uses the bulldozer to build a castle out of concrete on his island that's surrounded by a wall with his houseboat. Oh, by the way, his houseboat had to go in this little inlet here, and it was very shallow, so he gets in the water with a sharp plank, and the water's up to his shoulders, and he's digging with his feet big square chunks of earth and roots and soil under the water, and like lifting them out, like they weigh like 100 pounds, and he's then using those big square pieces of earth to build a jetty alongside. Like, the guy is a freaking animal. He's a monster. And of course, before he was doing this, he was building a giant robot in the middle of the Canadian wilderness. So he's a building machine. He's a building machine, and you think to yourself, you can't do this. That doesn't make any sense. Why? When he did, there it goes. He did it. He wanted to build an anchor out of fiberglass. I'm in the merchant marine. I've been around boats all my life. You don't build anchors out of fiberglass, but there you go. He did it. and for his purposes and use and function, it works. So the guy is like incredible. But I do worry about him and his kids and the family out there by himself, because you get things done through other people. You can only do stuff by yourself so long till, you break a leg or something. So, yeah, he's like, and there's nobody like Jamie. There's nobody. There should be a television show, a reality TV show about Jamie and his adventures on the island. It's just like, there's nobody. It's enter at your own risk. Toula. These are two young people I started featuring on my channel. They bought a used boat a long time ago, and they fixed it up, a sailboat, and then they bought a little trawler, and they fixed it up, and then they bought a catamaran, and they fixed it up. They don't have a lot of money. They just, like, he's a lifeguard a part of the year, and I forgot what she does. And they just travel in the Caribbean. They make wonderful videos, and they have a very nice personality. They're down to earth, real people. They kind of make me nostalgic and a little bit wistful. I kind of wish I had done something like this when I was their age. You only live once, and they're having the time of their life. And they also spend a lot of time, not a lot of time, but some of their time being very physical, exercising to keep their health up, which is really inspiring. More people need to do that. And they're just having a blast. And they're not rich, and they're not snobs. They're just regular young man, young woman out there having a good time. And excellent videos, very high quality. So I think it's a pleasure. There's a lot of people doing this right now, but I don't think anybody's doing it as well as they are. Fun to watch. Okay, Hollis. Hollis is a singer, songwriter, and she has her own style. Some of the videos she's made, her acoustics sound is terrible. It sounds like it's done through a potato. She doesn't do herself well. Also, there's a lot of her songs that aren't on her website. I've used a couple of her songs in my cooking videos. I'll leave a link to one of them. And some of those where she's done quality sound, you can get her voice, how good, how different. The thing about Hollis is she's an original. She's authentic. There's no auto-tune. There's no studio. It's just, there's a woman usually singing stuff she wrote herself with a lot of passion. She doesn't have a voice like Adele or Bjork, but what she has is hers. and I really like it. It might take a few songs before it grows on you. It's not for everybody, but I wish that she had more viewers, and I think what she's doing is good. I enjoy whenever she puts out a new song, which isn't often. I think the last one she did was 5 months ago. But some of them are pretty raw, but even the rawness is appealing in some way because it's authentic. So I like Hollis. I wish her the best. Okay, who do we got next? Oh, Drake Paragon. Drake is another boat video. Drake and I guess his girlfriend Mo and a young Irish guy, Enos, I think his name's Enos. The thing about them is they're a really cool group of people. They interact really well, and they travel places most people in boats never go. And then when they do go places, they interact with the community and the people. So you don't just see the boat and them; you get to see these little places that they go to. They also interview other people who are on boats that are kind of interesting, that at least to me anyway. I think they're. Oh, also the video quality is extremely high level. Their quality is excellent. Some of the best you're going to find, and very modest, very humble, a very enjoyable group of people. Also, you see all the things that go wrong. This is like being on the boat with them. It's that good. I think that I'm very happy to have them featured on my channel. I'm very happy. Who saw it? The last person, I feel kind of I don't know if I should even mention him because he's so crazy, but he's crazy in a good way. I love comedy. I love it to death. That's one of my favorite things. And I love people who take chances and take risks and aren't boring and who do stuff. And Will is like Mr. Franken is a one-man comedy machine. He does satire like Monty Python used to do. And he does a lot of times all by himself. He's like without a net. He's up there without a net. And he does stuff. Some of it is kind of, he like uses bad language. You want to be careful. Or he talks about things that could be offensive maybe to some people. But it only occasionally. And a lot of his stuff is comedy, I think, at a very high level for satire. That's not everybody's cup of tea. But if you like Monty Python, you want to give Mr. Franken a check him out. He did one video that I don't see here, where he did a video on Greta Thunberg, the young girl who's talking about the global warming. He really did something funny with her. I thought that was pretty. It probably end up getting him demonetized. Really, he's brilliant. He's funny. And I think a lot more people should know about his channel, which is why I feature him. So check out Crazy Will, and if you like comedy. And anybody else? Well, I did have a few people, but they stopped making videos. Like 2 or 3 years went by. Like, I'm Still Working, and Muggsy Jeff and a few other people, and they just stopped making videos. So I said, let me give some other people a chance here. If they start making them again, I'll put them back on. But yeah, this is good enough. Got 8, 9, 10, 11 people here. That's good enough. I think you'll find somebody you like. And if you have a channel and you see people you like a lot and they don't have a lot of subscribers, why on earth aren't you featuring them on your channel? So that's the thought for today. Guys, this was a blast for me. I really enjoy letting other people know the enjoyment I've gotten out of certain people on YouTube and how they have contributed to the YouTube community. And I hope you give them a little look-see. Hope you check them out. All right, I'm starting to ramble here. That's always a sign. All right, guys, it's been fun. I put stuff on new all the week, every weekend. My new camera should be coming any day now. I have some new videos with my camera, hopefully. Okay, bye. It's time to go. Bye. See you out there.